This episode of the Sloopcast is brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. The Mad Canadian Barbecue Company is an Ohio-based company where they say our seasoning will take your barbecue from good to great. Mad Canadian will be in Cary this Thursday, October 28th at the OLC Shrine Cafeteria for some barbecue and bingo. So go get yourself some barbecue, enjoy a good round or two of bingo, again, over at the OLC Shrine Cafeteria, 4 to 7 o'clock, or this Sunday, Halloween, at the Fall Craft Show up at the Wyandotte County Fairgrounds up in Upper Sandusky from noon to 4, again, noon to 4, Sunday, Upper Sandusky, get some barbecue. Check out the Mad Canadian social media sites for more information about him and his food truck and where he'll be heading to next. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, the official barbecue of the Cary High School Blue Devils.
This episode of the Sloopcast is also brought to you by the Iron Bean Coffee Company. The Iron Bean Coffee Company is a premium, small batch, roast-to-order, veteran-owned coffee company. Their coffee is world-class, hand-roasted, micro-batch coffee, and it is roasted, once again, to your order. I said that twice. Why? Because it's how important it is. Especially if you're not someone who's going to be doing, like, home grinding of your beans. If that's not something, you know, some people just aren't gonna do that, right? So if you're not gonna do that, what you're gonna want is the freshest possible grind. So if you're buying ground, all that spiel I normally go over about how important it is to have your coffee fresh roasted, it's way more important to have it fresh ground. Because once it gets ground, it starts to lose all those oils. So what you don't want is a coffee that's been sitting around in a truck and in a warehouse and on a shelf for weeks and months on end. You want to get your coffee fresh roasted, fresh ground, delivered to your doorstep straight from Toledo, Ohio. And you can get all of that from the Iron Bean Coffee Company. That is Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster. I think that's a bad idea, Gangland. Put coffee in olive oil. That's a bad idea. I would not recommend that.
I agree. I
am also for grinding my own beans, bros. You know,
this is
Iron Bean gives you.
This is the good time of the year here, Jared. We're getting to the second half of college football here. High school football playoffs are this next weekend here. I know there's a bunch of hockey fans as well. So yeah, this is a great time of the year right now. So with that being said, let's start the show, Jared.
We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing pretty well here, Jared. How are you doing today, good sir?
You know, Ohio State is looking like the Ohio State that we always want them to be. So I don't want to waste any time. Football has me in a good mood right now. So let's go ahead and get our episode of Standard and Grade started. Let's grade the team. Let's answer some questions. Let's talk about the game that was in Bloomington this Saturday, or last Saturday, rather.
Yeah, absolutely. For those that were living under a rock, Ohio State defeated Indiana Hoosiers. I don't think we did that last episode.
We
54 to 7.
You even turned the reverb on and everything. It was great.
I did, yes. 54 to 7. 44 of those points coming into the first half when Ohio State just let off the gas and only scored 10 points the second half. But it's the first half we have to talk about here, Jared. This Ohio State team, as you mentioned in the while the music was playing and on the YouTube only here, just Ohio State's just hitting it on all cylinders offensively right now. And defensively, they're finding their groove. They're finding their identity right now, holding Indiana to 128 total yards. Granted, they're playing their third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever quarterback in this game. Yeah. But still, 128 yards total for the game. Not in one half, not in three quarters, the entire game, 128 yards.
Yeah, as we all know, Penix was out, and then on top of that, Tuttle got hurt. Was it drive 2 for them? Maybe it was drive 3 when Tuttle got hurt.
It was the first drive when he threw that touchdown.
It was drive 1.
Indiana's only touchdown is when he got hit hard. He did come back in for another drive, but then he was done after that.
Yeah, Gangland reminded me it was the touchdown pass. Because in my mind he had completed drive 1, which he did. It's just that, he did come back in, but not for very long, as Kyle pointed out. They brought in the true freshman, and he just wasn't there yet, and his offensive line wasn't helping him out, and his wide receivers weren't helping him out, and he was a true freshman quarterback with little to no preparation, because he wasn't supposed to be starting, and he has no experience, and Ohio State was all over him, and the offensive line was not helping him, and it's almost to the point where you feel bad for the kid. Like, it really got that bad.
Yep.
When it comes down to it, Ohio State completely dominates this game, top to bottom, offense and defense, outside of that first drive where Indiana did look pretty good. Maybe there's an alternative version of this game where Tuttle doesn't get hurt and Indiana scores more points. I was expecting Indiana to score like 17 points. Kyle, what was your, or was it, no, you said 17. I said 12 or 13 something.
I had here, I think it was like 14 points. I'm trying to look it up here. Yeah, I think 14, 17 points. It was something around there.
So it was Ohio State, I think. Even we had high expectations going into this game. I think, sort of to sum up what we were saying in Know Your Enemy, we were kind of anticipating a repeat of the Rutgers game and the Maryland game, and Ohio State, I would say, looked even better than that. You still had a situation where Stroud played one or two drives in the third quarter. You had a situation like with Maryland and like with Rutgers, where each team actually got a really good drive in the first half. I think it played out a lot like that, except I think the offense was clicking even more than normal. Like, the offense was on another level this game. Like, they couldn't not score.
Well, and that's exactly what they did. They scored every time the offense got their hands on the ball there. In the first half here, Jared, Ohio State, 334 total yards to Indiana's 54. In that first half there. And that summed up the entire game there. Our players to watch here, it was who did you have for Indiana's player to watch? Do you recall?
I had the of course I'm gonna blank on names. The wide receiver, Freifogel.
Ty. Yeah, Freifogel. So Freifogel had a total of one catch for 30 yards, and then my player was Hendershot, who had 5 catches and the only score for the Hoosiers.
If I knew that Tuttle was also going to go out, I probably would have picked the tight end as well. But shout out to the cornerbacks who kept the wide receivers for Indiana completely in check. You had Hendershot with 5 catches, and everybody else on the entire team in total had 3 catches.
Yeah, that's their other 3 wide receivers with 3 catches there. That's hats off there. So let's just start with the defense here as we're grading.
Let's start with the defense. Let's switch it up.
Let's start right there with the cornerbacks. We're just going out of order here. The cornerbacks here, I'm going to give them an A+ here. This game, they did everything right there, other than the one the one mistake where they didn't get Hendershot. Was
But
it
the
Stover?
corners
I think,
but the corners almost never cover the tight end.
yeah. So I'd give. Oh, it was Simon. Yes, it was Simon. But yeah, I'd give the corners an A+ here. You can't ask
Absolutely.
for much more than other than trying to get a turnover. Which surprisingly, Jared, in this game, 0 turnovers in this game, 0 turnovers. For how for it raining pretty much the entire game. Their ball slippery. There was some slips from Indiana. Donovan who slipped on a few runs there, but yeah, no turnovers in that game, which was really surprising.
He did keep it PG, Stuart. He just used the TF. That is PG.
All right, so if we're giving the defense, if we're giving
Kyle,
the defense, if we're giving the
You want to
defensive
say you
back-
wanted the corners to get a turnover? I figure this one out. In a game in which Indiana was behind basically the entire football game, they attempted, the quarterbacks, Tuttle 7 attempts, McCulley 6 attempts, Gremmel, who was the walk-on who came in for a couple plays, 4 attempts. That's it. They had 17 passing attempts as it goes down in the books because of Ohio State getting a number of sacks and forcing runs. And so, I mean, a lot of the pass plays never really even became pass plays. And Indiana just wasn't even really on the field that much. And again, especially if we're talking about the first half, Kyle, do we have time of possession for the first half?
I do. Give me 1 second here. I actually have that right up here. Time of possession, Jared, for in the first half. Indiana, 15 minutes, 22 seconds. Ohio State, 14:38.
Okay, never mind. I was expecting that to be lopsided on Ohio State's side. Of course, Ohio State scored very quickly, so I don't know. Maybe not. But point is that I just don't feel like Indiana, even though the time of possession was 50-50, had the ball all that much.
You're right, Jared. So 2 minutes, 56 seconds, 29 seconds, minute 47, 2:43, 1:33. Oh, and actually their first drive was their longest one, which was 5 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything was under 3 minutes.
All right, Kyle. So yeah, corners get an A+. Safeties?
Yeah, A+ as well. They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't really leave anything. Really get past them there. Playing a lot of just one safety in this matchup that I saw. There was quite a bit of one deep, but you know it worked. It worked in this game here. So yeah, A+.
I wish, Stuart.
What did Stewart say?
No, just back on track, Kyle. Back on track. How'd the linebackers do?
The linebackers, I'd give them an A. I thought overall the linebackers did really well. I give them an A there. Not giving them that plus because of that slight mistake letting Indiana score that one touchdown. So I'll give them an A.
Yep. And if we want to move on to the defensive line, I feel like for the first time this year, I don't feel like grading the defensive ends and the defensive tackles differently, which is a thing we've been doing all year. Like in our actual chart that we have in our show notes, it still just says DL, but we've been breaking out the defensive tackles and the defensive ends all year because the defensive tackles have been outplaying the defensive ends, but I don't feel like that was the case. I thought they both completely brought it this game.
A+. A+ from the defensive line here. You held Indiana 48 yards on 37 attempts, 1.3 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
A+. And then if I'm looking more stats here, I got to go here. Officially, Jared, 5 sacks, which felt like they had more than 5 sacks. But
I don't know how that's possible.
But the team as a whole had 14 tackle for losses.
Yeah. 14 tackles for loss is insane.
That is, yes. So A+ all across the board here. And then we'll give special teams an A as well. Not the A plus, because I'm still waiting for that touchdown still.
But they did get a safety.
They did. But I'm still not holding. I'm still holding
no
on to
missed
that
kicks.
plus. I'm still holding on to that plus.
Kyle's not going to give it to you guys.
That.
Guys, I was trying to advocate for you. If any Ohio State special teamers are watching, I was attempting to advocate for you. Kyle's going to hold out for that return touchdown. I'm sorry.
I am.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yep, that's exactly gangland. All right, offensively here, Jared. Offensively, let's start with the slobs. Let's start with the slobs here. They let up, was it officially one? Yeah, only one sack in the
Kyle,
game.
Do you want to do an ad break before we do the offensive line, before we move on to the offensive side?
A little early, but yeah, sure. It's
a little bit early.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. All right, I'll go ahead and start us off here, Jared. The Mad Kenny Barbecue Company, I mentioned that it'll be up in Cary this Thursday from 4 to 7, and this Sunday on Halloween, they'll be up in Upper Sandusky at the Wyandotte County Fairgrounds from 12 to 4. Check out his social medias, Facebook and Twitter, for more information about him and his food truck. I mean, what more can we say about the Mad Canadian? You got a great guy running the grill or the barbecue there. It's made that day. No making the meat the day before. It's all made that morning. Everything is fresh. Barbecue is great. Just whenever you have a chance, go up there and get some of that good old Mad Canadian barbecue food. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, who are the official barbecue of the Cary High School Blue Devils.
This episode of the Sloopcast also brought to you by the Iron Bean Coffee Company. Kyle, I hopped on the Iron Bean Coffee Company site, and I'll be gosh darned, it looks like there's a sale. As I am recording this Sunday night, you can currently get $2 off of a drink from the skull of your enemy bag, a bag of cast iron, of integrity, of the Thor, of the Fear No Evil, the Loki, and the Odin. Those are all currently on sale. Again, I hope that's still the case when you are listening to this, but on a Sunday night, those coffees are all on sale. You can get $2 off per bag. And it looks like the Fierce Ride or Die and Rage Against the Dying of the Light K-Cups are also $2 off. You get 12 K-Cups and you get $2 off of that sale. And checking in on some of those other coffees, it looks like those are the ones currently on sale. So you can go check those out. If maybe you are waiting to save a couple dollars here or there, you can hop over to ironbeancoffee.com and get a little bit off your order there. And if you find the one that you love, you can do a subscribe and save and continue to save money as the time moves on. So like I said, go find your new favorite coffee over at ironbeancoffee.com. That is Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster.
All right, offensive grading here, Jared. As I mentioned, let's start with the slobs here. The slobs only let up one sack for the game, but paved the road for 187 yards for this rushing attack here for Ohio State. They didn't really need to do a lot, but man, they gave Stroud so much time, and even McCord and Miller to an extent too, all the time that they need to throw the ball.
Was the sack in the second half? I want to say the sack was in the second. Yeah, it was. It was on Stroud. Yep. And I want to say most, if not all of the starting five were still in at that point. So, I think we still got to count that. But as Kyle points out, you have to give huge props to the offensive line for what we saw out of the running game. We'll talk about the running backs here in a moment, but Henderson, 9 yards a carry, Mine Williams, 7.5 yards a carry. CJ Stroud takes only one sack on the game. He had a clean pocket almost the entire game. A dumb penalty did cost Ohio State a touchdown, but they ended up getting the touchdown right back on it was either the next play or a couple plays later. So I'm not gonna ding the offensive line too bad for that. So I made a couple complaints there, Kyle, but I'm really nitpicking. Just for the record, I'm being hyper nitpicky because we've already handed out several A+, and I don't want that to become too cheap. So maybe I'm trying to talk myself into an A, but I thought they played excellently.
Yeah, I'll give them an A. Played excellent, and especially that first drive. Like you saw the offensive line and just how they just manhandled this Indiana defense. And this defense, what was it, a couple of games ago? I got to pull it up real quick. This defense really held, it was the game before, really held Michigan State, who actually it was moving the ball quite a bit this season, held Sparty to, 100 yards for the game, 2.9 yards for the 2.9 yards per rushing temp for Sparty. So this was a good Indiana defense, and Ohio State had their way with them.
Yeah, like do not go back and listen to Know Your Enemy, because I think we were trying to hype up Indiana a bit. Their only losses have come to teams who either every team they lost to was in the top 10 at the time they lost to them, except for Iowa, who wasn't in the top 10 yet, but would get there. And I think currently is, I don't know. I haven't paid tons of close attention to the AP poll, but if they're not, they're just outside the top 10. Indiana has only lost to top 10 teams. Penn State has fallen like way out at this point, but when Indiana played Penn State, they had Clifford. And, we'll be talking about Sean Clifford a lot this week. He did play last Sunday or last Saturday, but he's not himself. But Indiana got healthy Sean Clifford, and that's not something that Iowa got, and that's not something that Illinois got. It's Indiana's defense is actually, I'm not gonna, oh my God, they're amazing, they're the blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to try and overhype them, but they held a healthy Sean Clifford in Penn State to, was it 24 points? Held Michigan State to 20 points. This is not some shamble defense. And Ohio State ramshackles them. You know what I mean? Made them look irrelevant. Made Indiana's defense look completely irrelevant. It looks like they were running their it's like they were doing their walkthroughs against the scout team defense. That's what they made Indiana look like. And I promise you, they are not that bad. That was just Ohio State executing. That's what Ohio State will look like when they're executing the way they are.
Yep. Tight ends here, Jared. Two touchdowns by Jeremy Ruckert in this game. Had 5 catches for 47 yards here.
And we also had a Cade Stover reception.
Yes, we did. Yep.
Jeremy Ruckert almost leads the team in receptions. Smith and Njimba did have 6. But Jeremy Ruckert had something that neither Wilson nor Smith and Njimba had. And he had 2 of them. He had some touchdowns.
Yeah, so there was a total of 7 catches by the tight ends here. 5 for Ruckert, Stover had 1, and Joe Royer, I think is everyone's new favorite tight end / fullback, had a catch as well. Yes, the Afro tight end. Yes. Oh no, you're right. Yes, it was Rossi had it. Sorry, not Royer. I apologize.
Didn't Royer also have? I thought Royer had 1, or did he? Or nope, did he drop it?
Nope. That's actually his first catch as a Buckeye. That was his first catch.
Let's see. Someone asked it.
So would you give the tight ends an A+ then here, Jared?
Yeah. And, you have to give them credit for what happened in the running game as well.
All right. Wide receivers, Jared. What would you give the wide receivers in this game here?
I mean, they suck. They're terrible. I hate them. They should have never let Jamison Williams. I'm kidding, of course. It's what else can you say? When they were open by a mile. When they got the ball, they made people miss.
Yep.
Wilson had a drop, a pretty ugly drop. I'm attempting to nitpick here. I'm really doing my best to nitpick here.
He made it up
right on the next play.
On the next play.
So I don't know. Like I'm trying really hard not to just be handing out A's like I'm Oprah with cards, but I don't know what else to do here because the game, while the starters were in through that first half, Ohio State was just outside of one drive on defense. Ohio State was just flawless. And
11. He threw it to 11 different receivers in this game. It wasn't like what we typically see is like, there's 5 receivers that Ohio State quarterbacks just throw it to, and it's a Wilson or Olave had like 8 catches each. No, it was all spread out. 6, 5, 5, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it was pretty evened out.
Which is what you'll see because they had the backups in for most of the second half, but
yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. had a couple of catches. He had a highlight there with his B button there, and Emeka had a couple of catches as well. And man, you just feel one of these times he's going to break it.
Here's the other. I know people love the spin move from Marvin Harrison Jr. I liked the other play more because it reminded me of his dad a bit because he caught a ball over the middle and someone hit him and he just sort of bounced and kept going. And his dad would do the same thing all the time. He has, Buckeye Zach says down in the chat, Harrison could be even better than his dad. He has better measurables. He's taller, he's faster, and then he also just has the benefit of having his dad be his dad and all of the financial benefits that come with that, all of the knowledge that comes with that. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. has the unfair advantage of having Marvin Harrison as his dad. That's one thing Marvin Harrison didn't have. So yeah, I do think that Marvin Harrison Jr. has the potential to be, the potential. Marvin Harrison Jr. or Marvin Harrison Sr., one of the best to ever do it. One of the absolute best to ever play wide receiver in the NFL. So, let's slow down a bit, but the comparisons are unavoidable for obvious reasons.
Yep. So give the wide receivers an A here. Running backs had 32 rushing attempts, 187 yards for the game, 5.8 per rush there, and 3 touchdowns for the game here. Can't ask. And I think the important thing too, with it being rainy, 0 fumbles as well.
That's a good point.
I'd give him an A here. Henderson got 2 touchdowns. Chop got the first touchdown of the game there. Just a solid performance with the Ohio State running backs.
Henderson left I don't even know who the announce crew was. I forget. It's not that I forget. I just don't think I knew. But he left the announcers speechless on several occasions. Just left them absolutely speechless. I think there's a really good Henderson question coming up in Ask Sloopcast. So I think we'll come to that when we get a chance to.
So an A.
A plus. A plus. I give them the plus. They looked unstoppable.
Well then, do you have to give the same grade to C.J. Stroud then?
Give the same grade to C.J. Stroud. What else do you want at this point? C.J. Stroud is he made his best throw of his college career on Saturday. It
Ooh,
was that
one-
post over the middle. He put it in a narrow window. He put it there. It was perfect. It was an NFL throw. He's getting better, and he's getting better, and he's getting better. We're nowhere near the peak of CJ Stroud yet, and that should have everyone who is not an Ohio State fan very concerned. He's getting there. He's really, really getting there. And he's a pocket guy who throws the ball or who runs the ball sometimes. I think we saw him scramble only once this game. It wasn't needed because he had open wide receivers and a clean pocket, and his running backs were running well. He didn't need to run, so he didn't. Like I said, I think he took off once. Well, he should have 2 rushing stats, Kyle. 1 sack and 1 run. No, he has 3. A third one came somewhere. He must have scrambled a third time. But regardless.
CJ Stroud, 75% passing, 266. Didn't have to throw the ball a ton down the field there. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for the game. Can't ask for much more there unless you're Stewart, who expects him to be perfect every throw.
Okay, according to some people, this is gangland. According to some people, all he has to do is establish the threat. I'm not. Oh, okay. You're being facetious. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I'm interested to see what he does. I am interested to see what he does against the better defenses, against the Michigans, the Michigan States, and the Penn States. When he gets a little bit of pressure on him, presumably when he gets a little bit of pressure on him, and maybe the wide receivers aren't quite as open, but we're seeing him make narrow throws now. We're seeing him make really good throws now. So we'll get there. We'll see. But I have faith.
Yep. All right. So overall, the worst position that's happened per our grades, Jared. Maybe it's just us being homers here. Whatever, is an A.
I mean, we're just grading based off of this performance, and when the starters were in, it was pretty much flawless. Now, Kyle, I will say this: we did have our first CJ Stroud led drive end up in a punt. I think it was his last drive, which was in the second half. Ohio State has still not punted in the first half since Akron, which was not CJ Stroud.
Yeah, that is just a crazy stat.
It was the first drive of the second half per gangland.
Yeah, that's just a crazy stat to think about, and how efficient Ryan Day has this offense clicking here. All right, let's get into some Ask Slipcast questions here, Jared.
Do you want to grade the coaching?
An A. An A.
That's fine.
Austin formation. Say you get 40 carries a game to hand out to the team in a semi-competitive game. Say the final score is 45-28. Ohio State wins. How would you distribute those 40 carries? So those 40 carries, I would say 20. I would say 25 to Henderson. Yeah, I would say 25 to Henderson. I would give 10 to Chop, and then give 5 to CJ Stroud.
Okay. I wasn't even thinking about including the quarterback in that. He just says 40 carries to hand out to the team. Let's see. He says semi-competitive. Now, if we were talking about competitive, if you're talking about game on the line, I think I like your numbers, Kyle. But if we're talking semi-competitive, I really don't want to take Henderson over 20. He's still a freshman. Yeah. I want to keep him healthy. I think 20 is a good number for Henderson. If I have all of the running backs available, I probably want to give maybe 12 or 13. I'm making the math hard on myself here. 12 or 13 to, so let's just say 13 to Chop. Let's give 7. Let's give 7 to Master Teague, and that's 40, right? So yeah,
Yes.
something in that area.
Okay. All right, fair enough. All right, Gangland, here's a question from you. How do we feel?
Stewart says, I want to see them hand the ball to Dwan Jones. I'd like to see it too.
Yes. How do we feel about the Stroud comparison now?
The Stroud pro, I did ask him. This is about a pro comp for CJ Stroud. I'm not 100% sure on that yet. He has a really nice arm. It's not like a world class. No, see, I don't like Dwayne Haskins because I think Dwayne Haskins has better arm strength. But we aren't talking about bad arm strength by any means from CJ Stroud. Just Haskins' arm strength was huge. Better arm strength than Andy Dalton. Better arm strength than like Andy Dalton. Gosh, I don't know. He kind of maybe Aaron Rodgers-y.
Yeah, I would say Aaron Rodgers-y.
I haven't put a ton of thought into that yet. And again, I really want to see him against some really good competition, because right now he's just sort of hanging back in the pocket and slinging it. Because I think that's really all that's being required of him at the moment, which is fine, which is great.
Yep.
I don't see a ton of his flavor coming through yet.
Yeah. Austin asks, what is the best comparison, since we're doing comparisons, what's the best comparison to Trey Hundoson?
So I saw some other answers. This was being discussed in the Sloopcat Discord. So I saw some other answers being tossed around, and I saw Reggie Bush being tossed around, and I think that's somewhat fair. I saw Adrian Peterson getting tossed around, and I see where that's coming from. The two names I have to offer are, one, Marshall Faulk. He does remind me a lot of Marshall Faulk. Stylistically, he will need to improve as a pass receiver to really earn those stripes. And of course, I'm not saying he's as good, because we're taught every name we're bringing up here are Hall of Famers practically, right? Reggie Bush, not so much in the pros, but he's one of the best college running backs ever. So that's some of the names that popped to mind. And I know this is a bit weird. Here kind of reminds me of Fast Willie Parker, who played for the Steelers for a while, which is to say he's an incredibly fast running back who is not afraid. People have a misconception of Willie Parker, like that he was some sort of scat back a la was Chris Joe, he played for the Titans for a while, is incredibly fast running back. Chris Johnson, is that what his name was? Yes. Yep. Gangland confirms. But no, that's not true. Willie Parker, despite being an incredibly fast running back, knew how to break tackles and run between the tackles and get dirty yards and all of that. So I kind of want to throw that out there as a comp as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, Gangland asks, the starting O-line gave up their first sack in a while last night. Should I take my finger off the panic button?
Didn't they give up a sack week prior? Or not the week prior. Okay. Week prior was a bye week, but I feel like they tend to give up maybe about one sack a game, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I could be mistaken.
All right, we have Hoosier Buckeye Zach. Do you believe it is time for Henderson to exceed 30-plus carries?
No.
As well as at least 3 targets minimum in the short pass game?
No. Freshman running back. No, absolutely not. As Kyle pointed out earlier, high school is currently going into their playoffs. Like, the high school season's almost over. And we're kind of just at the halfway mark of college football.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, the season gets longer, the hits add up. Now, he's doing a really good job not taking a bunch of hits as far as that goes, because he's just not
touches.
Yeah. No, you got to keep him fresh. You got to keep him protected. You can't do to him what Tressel did to Marshall. I almost said Marshall Falk. Maurice Claret. Claret was beat up, missing games because of shoulder injuries and everything else. No, you gotta keep him on a pitch count of sorts.
Yep. Agreed. Another question from Zach. Gangland is panicking over one sack given up by the OL. Should we commence Operation Brown Paper Bag?
No. I'm only guessing at what that means, and no.
All right, Gangland, one last question here. Is last night indicator of how much we will use our tight ends in bigger games?
That's a good question. I've been asking myself the same thing. We saw Ohio State use the tight end a lot versus Rutgers, but then completely forget about the tight end against Maryland, and then come back to you. They just might depend upon what they're seeing in the scheme of the other team. That would be my guess at this point.
I feel like we do this every year, Jared. Where we got the tight end got 2 touchdowns in this game. The year of the tight end, it's this year, and then all of a sudden it just goes away whenever Ohio State plays stiffer competition. Until I see it, I'm hesitant to say it, but it's always nice seeing tight ends getting 5+ catches and a pair of touchdowns in a game.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and I think I saw Stuart ask a question here. Did Ryan Day hold back to dogs when he should have curb stomped those chumps?
When they scored 44 in the first half, part of me was wondering if we were going to see evil Ryan Day. Because we saw him take some vengeance out on Michigan in the past. We saw him take some vengeance out on Maryland a few years ago over that Chase Young situation. And because of all the noise Indiana made about, they should have been representing the East and whatnot last year. I was wondering if we were going to see evil Ryan Day in the second half. But it wasn't. He called the dogs off. I kind of wanted it too, Stuart, but it's a long season. There's a long way to go, and as much as it might be fun to do something like that, let's win the season. Let's get the guys rested. Let's focus on Penn State. There's a long season ahead. It's not about scoring 80 points on Indiana. That's not going to get you anywhere.
Yep, exactly. All right. That is all the questions we have for today, Jared.
Buckeye Zach says Michigan will see evil Ryan Day. Maybe. I think maybe. I think there's still some scores unsettled there.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jared.
Not only Duck last year, but he and Harbaugh got into some shouting matches on some phone calls during the course of the offseason previous, not this offseason, but the offseason previous to that. Like Georgia Tech's 222 should be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kyle, anything else?
Nope, that is it. Go ahead and take us out, Jared.
All right. I want to encourage everyone to join our Discord server. It's a fun it's drama free. There's it's so much fun. There's not a lot of nonsense. It's a great time. It's a great place to hang out. We send out news alerts in there. So if you're looking maybe to get news alerts, we try and, We have a breaking news channel that you can follow, which quite frankly, you could join the Discord server just for that breaking news channel. And you'd honestly be pretty happy if you had your alerts on and stuff like that. So, and it's just a fun place to hang out during game day. We have a bunch of fun like bots and stuff in there and everything else. We enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. And if you want to join the premium sections of the Discord server, which you don't have to do, the Discord server is free, but there are premium sections of it. And you could join that for only $3 a month by going to patreon.thesloopcast.com and signing up for the $3 tier will give you all of the digital access that you want. Everything else gets you like merchandise and stuff like that. But as far as the digital content, you can listen to us as we record these live and chat like these guys are doing down here. You can get early access to episodes. We have a recruiting channel in the Discord. We have the game day channel. We have a bunch of interesting channels in the premium section of the Discord. And you can, like I said, just come hang out. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
As I mentioned before, like Ohio high school football just ended, so this weekend is the start of the playoffs here, and I'm sporting my alma mater hat here. When won the state title back in 03. They finished off, the Clemson Grove Bulldogs finished off their season 10-0 for their fourth straight conference title. Looking to do some damage this playoffs, and if all works well, I think like if they win 3 games, they could possibly be playing Mad Canadians high school too.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. There are a lot of shenanigans. I was reading the shenanigans taking on, and something about me cheating. I've never cheated. I don't know what it is you guys are talking about, but I cheat at nothing. So yeah, that's it, Kyle. That's the end of today's show. Tonight's ending music will be brought to you by a band called, I have it in the show notes, I just need to scroll up to the point in the show notes. They're called Stay Outside. They're a fun band, and I'm playing them because on Tuesday night, which is either tomorrow night or tonight, depending upon when you're listening to this. And if you're listening to this later than the 26th, then I'm sorry you missed it. But you can still listen to the song. They're playing at the Roomba Cafe, which is in Columbus. It's how do I describe where the Roomba Cafe is? It's east of North Campus. Does that make sense? Summit area. So you can go check out this band on Tuesday night if you want to. So like I said, if you're listening to this on the podcast version, then just hang around. You don't have to do anything except nothing. If you do nothing, you will hear the song. For the YouTube folk, we can't play the song on YouTube, but you can. There's a link down in the show notes where you can go and listen to this song. So you can go ahead and do that. And with all of that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Stay Outside.